Hello everyone, Jeremy here, and I've got another cool action figure that I would like to show you because I was in Toys R Us recently just going through some of their video game related toy items, and I came across this older but yet still cool figure from BioShock 2. This is a Brute Splicer, and it was on clearance for $9.99, and it was also a Toys R Us exclusive here in the United States. So this Brute Splicer in the game was the result of a person mixing the Gene Tonic Sports Boost and Armored Shell, and when they do that they become this really big, hideously monstrosity of a man who is kind of like the Incredible Hulk in some ways. You know, he can jump high, quite fast, and very, very strong. Flipping it over on the back, there's a brief bio about the Brute Splicer, and it says, as a skilled boxer, he left London behind to make his way in Rapture. Quick to anger and bigger than most, he found he rarely fit in with other men. When the city cracked open, he changed with it. The flooded streets tested man against man, and his skills made him a first-rate ruffian, never afraid to hit below the belt. After years of hoarding Adam, he's now capable of inhuman feats of strength, hurling insults 1 minute, tables the next. So yeah, this was always a guy that gave you a hard time while you're playing the game. So this figure is created by NECA, who has a long history of making some really, really good action figures. And I also reviewed a couple of their new 25th anniversary Simpsons figures, maybe about last week or so. So now let's open up this package and get a good look at the Brute up close and personal. This is a fantastic figure. I am not playing around. This is just incredible. Amazing. For $10 is what I paid for this. Wow. It's probably the best detailed, best painted, finest figure that I own. And I am just so thrilled. Let's take a closer look at some of the detail of this guy. I mean, it's phenomenal. The detail in this guy's arm to signify the abuse that his body has taken from mixing those gene tonics and abusing Adam as much as he has, and he gets these really big, nasty boils on his arm, and you can see the veininess of his arms there as well. Really good paint on his skin, fine detail on those boils on his hand. I love the veins, and they're not just, it's not just paint to bring up those veins. You know, if you touch it, it's actually, they're slightly raised. There's a tactile feel to these veins to really knock the quality up into another dimension.
I wanted to take a special look at this Brute Splicer's back because it's another show of really good detail. You can see these raised muscles and veins on his back to really just drive home how massive this guy is, and how the hugeness of his back and muscles are causing rips in his shirt. Down at the bottom of his shirt, everything is stitched and fine, but as you go towards the middle, there is a rip, and near the very top is an even larger rip. And even if you tilt over the character near his collar, there's another slight rip in his clothing right there. And it's just those little attention to detail. You know, he's not so big to rip out of his outfit, but it is causing some major stress on the fabric. Take a look at that arm. What I really love about this arm is you can almost sort of see the individual stitchings of his shirt coming apart because his arms are just ripping right out of it. And you can see the really raised and rocky and bumpy and just simply nasty texture of his skin. And I love how NECA decided to put slightly darker colored paint here and there on all the little individual bumps and ridges to really just show us that this guy's body is being completely taken over. His genes are out of control, and it's just fine attention to detail. You can also see like a little bit of yellow in his shirt there as well. Didn't have to put that, but it really helps. Taking a look at his other arm, you'll see that his shirt isn't as ripped as the other side, but along the bottom of his shirt, like where his elbow is, you can see that his shirt is starting to tear a little bit. And once again, I love how it just looks like the individual fabrics are showing as the shirt is tearing. I also like the little splotches of blood here and there. It's not a lot, but since there's blood all over his body anyway, it's only natural to just have a little bit there where his shirt is ripped. And also take a look at those ridges. Take a look at the wrinkles of his shirt up near his shoulder and how the seams of the shirt are quite pronounced, probably because they are about to be ripped as well. Let's move on to the Brute Splicer's face. You know, one thing that I really like about his face is the way that his skin is being pulled. Look how the skin looks like it's going from the front of his face and it's being pulled back towards his neck. And it's really just helping to bring out a really grotesque and nasty appearance on this guy. And the little bumps that form along the back, nasty. And also his vest. I like the little circular hole in his vest, and I like how the buttons on the front of the vest are starting to come loose. You see that right there in the middle. One button has popped and it has exposed his undershirt, and as usual, little splotches of blood helps to drive the point home.
And I cannot leave out the suspender straps, which of course is completely useless now on this guy, but it's good. They do move, you know, so they're not just stuck there. Well, again, great detail on it. There's little splotches of red paint to indicate the blood, and then there's also some black paint in there too, once again just showing how dirty and dingy this guy is now. There's little wrinkles in his pants down by his pant legs, and you can just look at the wrinkles going all around his pants. You know, really fine detail. I keep saying that, but you know, I feel like I just can't stress it enough. There's another tear right here on his knee, right where that blood is. And wow, that's just looking at this guy. Now, if he just stayed like that, it would be fine, but he is also quite articulated. All right, let's talk articulation. So there are a few different joints of articulation in this guy. It's pretty cool. His arms can move up and down. There's like a ball joint right here. So he's a little bit stiff because he's new, but you can twist his arm to move it up and down. Like I said, he is pretty stiff, but you can do that, and you can rotate him at the, basically like at the elbow. You can rotate him at the elbow. And then it's the same thing on this side. Arms can move up and down. This is also rotatable, and he's also rotatable at his waist. So he can go from here to over there, and then also his legs can be moved as well individually. See, his legs can move like this. Now, of course, he can't stand up if you do it that way, but he can stand up that way. Both legs articulated, and you just have to sort of twist them like that so that he can stand up on his own. Really nice articulation on this guy. There's nothing that you can give him to so that he can like hold on to anything like that, but he doesn't need to. I mean, this guy just goes around and just uses this massive size to just clobber things. Now, how big is he compared to something like a Lego minifigure? Well, here you go. That's how big this guy is. So if you got any Lego minifigures just sitting around, by comparison, you see how large he is. So much detail, so much attention to detail. It's wow, it's fantastic. And especially, now she's gonna fall. Especially if you are a big fan of BioShock. Now I know this is not a new figure, he came from BioShock 2, but in general, really well done. You know, I just can't stress enough how happy I am with this Brute Splicer. You know, if I had known that these figures were of such high quality, I would have tried to have gotten as many as I possibly could from the line. But in my local Toys R Us, they seem to be starting to get rid of the toys they introduced in 2013 and in years previous to that, because this is the only BioShock figure that I can find in the store. There's only one other like Gears of War figure. They're really starting to just reset things and bring in new products. That's why this is on clearance. It's not going to be around for much longer, but I have been able to stumble upon this guy online for, you know, maybe about 15 bucks, which is still a wonderful price for something of this caliber. It's really amazing. And like I said earlier, probably the best video game base figure or figure period that I own. Super happy with it. So thanks so much for watching. Go get this guy. I'm serious. It's really great. Wait till you see it for yourself. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I'll see you later.